We got an auger attachment to go on the front of our Bobcat excavator to dig holes for putting a fence post up at the new off-grid property. But the main reason we got it right now is to put our screw anchors in for our solar array. Alright, we got all of our fittings hooked up. That's hooked up. Let's give it a try. I've never used one of these before, so let's see how it goes. That worked good. I should have shown you the hole before I started filling it back in, but that's nice and clean and circled. Now if we can get all of our holes to dig like that and a little bit nicer for down where we're going to be doing the solar array, that's going to be perfect. We don't need the 6-inch auger bit for doing the solar array, but we are going to need the auger itself. I've never used anything like this before. This one is from McLaren. I believe it was a it's an MCA220 model right there. They make different models for the different hydraulic flow of your machine. We keep jumping around from project to project, but that's because we're just trying to keep everything going and flowing. I want to make sure I get the solar array in the ground before winter comes, because I don't want to be drilling into frozen ground. So that's one of the big reasons I'm trying to make sure we get the solar array going at this point too. I want to have that all done before winter sets in. So we're trying to jump around and get all the projects done that we need while the weather is still good. Well, we made it up with our earth anchor screws and we didn't lose any. Now we got to get them down to their solar array location. These are earth anchor screws. I've never worked with anything like these before, but if we didn't use these, we're gonna have to do a lot of concrete. And it's actually cheaper to go with the screws than it would be for concrete in our instance anyways. We only needed 63-inch long screws. These ones are 80 inches long. It's all they had in stock. So I am hoping that we can get these all the way into the ground, up to where we need to. Get them as deep as we can. But we get some pretty rocky soil here, so it's gonna be interesting to see how these screw into the ground. But I wanna get this first one set in the ballpark area, and then I wanna run our string outside. So when I'm working, I can have our string on the outside edge of this, and I'll know that we're in a nice straight line. Just like that, we're gonna do it. We're just gonna keep hand screwing it. You can actually hand screw these in if you want. They do show you how to make an attachment, so you can. If you had nice sandy soil, it'd be easy to do. Don't want to be right up against the pipe, otherwise we'll just be hitting it as we're drilling. So we're 1.5 inches away, and we can use that as a reference point as we're working. Just like that. One of the nice things is I've been able to use a lot of the tools we had for installing the greenhouse. This is a post level, so that way you know if your post is level all directions. Magnetic, but I'll put a little strap on it too. One of these before, other than when we tested it out earlier in the video. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. We have kind of rocky soil here, so that's one of my concerns, is hitting rocks. But I don't know, we're gonna find out and see how it goes. If we had really good clean soil, I think this would be a piece of cake. forgot one crucial step is I should have put my little lock nuts in here, and I didn't. These are the ones that hold it all together when it's built. What I need to do is get some bolts that are threaded like this and just use regular bolts to attach it to this hex. So after today I'll be grabbing some. All right, that'll keep the hex head from flopping around inside. So what was happening before is this bolt was taking all the brunt, but we have a hex head right here and all the extra room inside the inner of our pipe. This thing was just able to flop around. If I was thinking earlier, I would have already have done this, but now we know for the next ones. We're about halfway in the hole, a little less. So let's see how this goes. I say we must be on a rock or something right there, because I had all the weight of the excavator on that and it wasn't going any deeper. So I'm going to stop on this one. Let's do another one and see kind of what reaction we get. Then we'll make our decisions on how we're going to go about getting this hole deeper from there. There we go. Hopefully this one goes better. We'll find out in a second. Level this off and try to go a little bit deeper, but it is stalling out the hydraulics, so whatever it is in, it doesn't want to go any deeper. All right, that is all the machine has. Got it. So I think I might have found the trick a little bit for getting these in the ground. When they get so far in the ground, I must hit really compacted soil, and the bobcat must have a pressure release valve because it'll spin and then it'll stop. So I found that if I back off a little bit, wait a second, spin a little bit, it'll stop, but I'm able to gain maybe like an inch or so each time. So I'm gonna keep trying and see how far down I can get that in the ground. I can always go back to that first one, either take it out completely or just try to fix it. Just gonna keep going and working. The more we do it, the better we're gonna get. on the original hole location, we are hitting something. I don't know if you can see it. I had to take it out, but our screw part came off. All of it was cracking back here. We were hitting a rock. So, not sure what we're gonna do, but we're gonna fill that back in and see what we come up with for the next one. Must be a rock that we were getting into over here too. She had some pressure. Holy moly. Our Bobcat has two ranges on it, high and a low range, so that'll let the hydraulics move more. So on this last one, I put it in on the high speed to see if that would make a difference when we were drilling, and it did, but not in a good way. We ended up tearing this out because we were going too fast. So we're better off going slower. I know some of these pipes look terrible right now, but like I said before, we only need to be 63 inches in the ground, and these are 80-inch ones, so we have more. So actually, we don't even need to be 63 inches in the ground because they're 63 inches long, the other ones, and then you have 6 inches that can be out, so that would be 57 inches they need to be in the ground. So these are more than that, even the ones that are sticking up higher, and the ones that are sticking up higher, I'm gonna cut back, and we're gonna weld all of our pipes in there so they look nice. This one is off because we had a big rock, and the anchor itself, when we took it out, was already kind of starting to come apart, and if I take it back out and try to redo it, it's gonna break. So I came up with an idea of how to fix this and still make this work, but be back in line. So we're gonna have to do that later on. I don't like using these set screws to hold the hex in place because they're pointed on the edge. So I want to pick up some bolts that are threaded just like this, and then they'll have a flat surface to hit onto our hex head, and we're not going to be having a point, and I think that'll be better. We'll have more surface hitting that hex head on the auger bit. So we got 4 installed all the way, definitely. The first one down there, we could leave it, but I'm gonna try to go in a little bit deeper now that we know a little bit of a trick of how to get these in the ground deeper. That one back there, we're gonna have to go back and work on that one again. I feel better, we got a little bit of experience now of how to run these. If our soil wasn't so rocky, these things would be working awesome. They are working a lot better than doing sonotubes, because if we were hitting these big rocks, we'd be pulling all that out, and we'd have to go 63 inches deep with a sonotube that was 18-inch in diameter. That's what the engineered plan calls for. So by doing the anchors, we're cutting all that work out. I'm thinking one more day, and we should be able to get the rest of these anchors in, as long as we don't have any big struggles. But we'll get those in, and then we can get everything cleaned up. I know these earth anchors aren't perfectly level and everything, but it's because of our rocky soil. But they're in the ground, they're not going anywhere. This is the size pipe we're gonna be using for our uprights, for our solar array. And there's plenty of wiggle room in here to get everything level and plumb. And then we can get everything leveled off and plumbed off, and then we can weld it all up so everything is nicey nice. If you didn't have rocky soil like us, it would work perfect, but because we're dealing with the kind of soil we have here, we have to make some things work when we hit rocks. And then they do make an adapter that goes on the end of the auger to fit into the pipes snugger, but unfortunately, just like a lot of things, it is back ordered, and I don't know how long it would take to get it. So I did some thinking last night, and I came up with the idea of doing a 2-inch socket. We'll get that on here, and believe it or not, this 2-inch socket fits perfectly inside one of the earth anchors, so that should keep this from walking as much as it was. Alright, so we're going to need to cut our socket so it can slide up onto our auger bit a little bit, because it doesn't want to get past these holes. It's probably like the pipe's probably pinched a little bit or something because they got these drilled out. So we can have it go right to the end here. So I'll cut the socket back, and then we'll slide it onto the auger and attach it. That should work nicely now. Off camera, I put 2 more anchor screws in, and they went really good. And then I came over here and I tried putting one in right here, and I hit a rock. So I pulled it out, moved it over 6 inches, hit the same rock. Then I came over to this hole. See if you can see it right here. Then I came over to this hole, got about a foot down, hit a rock. Then I came over to the next hole, I got about 2 inches down, and I hit a rock. And that last one that we had put in, which was this screw which was that screw right there, I was able to hand screw it out. It was only in about, say, 3 feet, and it hit a rock. And then I tried messing with this earth anchor again. This is the one I had used 4 times, and I tried using it the 5th time, and it just broke right off here. So I'm gonna go home and refigure how we're gonna do this. I have an idea, but I want to think about it a little bit more. I don't have time to do it anyway, so I'm gonna think about it a little bit more and see if the plan in my head is what we should do to continue on. So this is where we're gonna wrap up the video. I don't like ending a video like this, but sometimes when you're doing your own projects, you're doing a new project, you're doing a project you've done before, you hit a point where you're just scratching your head, and you're better off to stop, walk away, think about it, talk with some people, and then come back with a new game plan. So that's what we're gonna do here. So in the next video, I'll be back and I'll have our game plan. Thanks for coming along on our homesteading journey. You guys are a huge blessing to us in our homestead. One of the reasons I love doing all this stuff is I get to learn new things. We get stressed, we get stretched, we get to try new things, we get to learn new things, see what works, see what doesn't work. And the best part is, if we mess up, it's our stuff. We're not messing up anybody else's stuff. So we're not gonna mess this up. We're just gonna have to rework a couple of things and get everything to work. And in the end, it's gonna be perfect. So yeah. We're gonna come back ready to finish it up in the next video.
So we're really loving roasted vegetables. So I got some frozen broccoli, a little bit left from a bag. I still have 2 bags left that we had frozen, so that's awesome. They're bigger bags. It won't last us long. And hopefully we'll get some more heads now that the cooler weather has started. spray just in case. I don't want to have to scrub any harder than I need to. Squash from the garden, red and regular potatoes from the garden. Oh, so good. I'm really looking forward to the squash the most, and Al and Olivia the potatoes, so this is gonna be so good. It's gonna pop in the oven and pop the broccoli in the oven, and I'm just gonna keep an eye on the broccoli because I think that's gonna get done first, even though it is frozen.
Dear Lord, thank you for a wonderful day.